Do it.
Take three.
Welcome to the June 28th, 2023 special meeting of the Half Moon Bay City Council. We have a very short agenda tonight. Are there any public comments? Anybody from?
We have no public comments. Would you like to do a roll call?
Yes, I'd like to do a roll call.
All right. Councilmember Brownstone,
Here.
Councilmember Rarback,
Here?
and Councilmember Reddick.
Here.
We have a forum.
Good. Item 1A is the Sewer Authority Mid-Coast fiscal year 2023-24 operations and maintenance general budget. We have a staff report.
I'll be brief. I will first say that your representatives to the SAM board, I think, used great restraint on Monday night in a very, very challenging environment and conversation. And ultimately, out of that conversation came a compromise proposed revision, which actually came from a motion from Deborah Penrose, but ultimately it arose out of work with the Granada board member, particularly. Well, let's just call it that. In any event, what the motion was to send back a revised staff report, and with that revised staff report, we would include the plant-related capital projects, which is equated to 1.5 million, and to carry over approximately $220,000 that had already been approved by the board and by your representatives there to do an assessment through SRT for work related to the Montero Force Main, and we had not argued about that in terms of the contesting and protesting, other than just saying that it's part of the Montero Force Main when it was done. And I think, Harvey, you were at the meeting when that was ultimately approved, if I recall, or at least was the beginning part of that. We, in that alternate, there was agreement to remove the $2 million for the Montero Force Main, and as part of that agreement that we would return either with a mid-year budget review or come back to the board after a decision is made by the appellate court, whichever came first or whichever came earlier. So we would then come back and acknowledge and address where we were with regard to the funding on that. So that motion was approved. Montero board members abstained from that vote. It was a 6-0-2 vote with Granada joining the city members in supporting that. Each of the member agencies were then asked to, in essence, come back with special meetings to consider the approval of that revised budget. The revised budget is what was submitted to you and is part of the packet, and is recommended tonight for your approval. We understand Granada is scheduled for July 6th to meet, and I'm not sure when Montero, their general manager, was out, and I'm not sure what they're looking at. The attempt is to try to have this approved by all three agencies prior to or in concurrent with the July 10th SAM board meeting, due to just needing to move forward with bills and payments for the fiscal year. So that's where your folks ended up, where we ended up, and why we're here tonight. Again, I think it goes without saying some disappointment in terms of just the manner and the nature of conversation there, but it was what it was, and we're we're here, I think, with a positive point in terms of hopefully reaching consensus on a budget and keeping everything flowing. And your members were very clear to the community and to the other SAM board members that it was not your intention to stop the flow of funds for the general operating budget of SAM, to pay the staff, to keep this treatment plant operating, and to keep everything operating and moving along in fiscal year 23-24. So I think that was very clear from your members, conveying that to the community and to the SAM board. With that, I'll conclude. And Matthew was on the Zoom call as well. Did you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I think it's a good summary, and I think I'm grateful that our partners at Granada were able to understand our stance. They may not agree with our stance, but they understand our stance and have found a way to help us move the budget forward so that we can keep operations going. So,
and that was a priority for Granada.
Yeah.
We were at least in a position to begin the work that was already, approved, and to keep that project rolling. So it was a very welcome amendment to the motion from Granada. So I don't even know if Montero will actually be meeting. So
Don't they have to?
well, they made the case that they've already approved the budget. So it sounded to me like, they weren't interested in the motion. So yeah.
We could, I think, we could be back for another special meeting, I think is the takeaway on this, for a different budget, revised budget, frankly. We'll see. It's unclear whether we have three, and the agency council, general counsel, has concluded absolutely that the JPA requires all three agencies to approve exactly the same budget, and that the board directors cannot modify that, even reducing it from what was approved by the three agencies. And so we're in a bit of a catch-22 perhaps. Hopefully all three agencies see the need to continue operations of SAM and make sure things continue flowing.
But my understanding is, regardless what happens on the 10th, we will cut a check for what we believe is our portion of the operating budget in July, as we normally would.
And pay for things that we already approved.
Yep.
Yeah.
We will continue to pay 1/12 of what the budget that we approve includes.
Right. Right. Okay.
And that was welcomed by, the SAM staff. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I don't have any questions.
Well,
Okay, for a
No
motion.
public
comment?
No public comment?
No.
No public present.
with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd be happy to make a motion that we move that we adopt a resolution approving the Sewer Authority Mid-Coast revised general operations and maintenance budget for FY 2023 through 24, included as Exhibit A to the resolution, without waiving its prior protest votes related to IPS projects. And 2, rescind Resolution C 2023-39.
Second.
Can I have a roll call?
Sure. Councilmember Brownstone,
Yes.
Councilmember Rohrbach,
Yes?
and Councilmember Reddick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We are adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.